Powered by Sports Interaction, Canada Sportsbook.
It's March Mania at Sports Interaction. NHL, NBA, March Madness, MLB, and so much more. It's bananas. Play Pinata Picks and Minute Madness, exclusive games with insane odds you can't play anywhere else. Make your next bet with Sports Interaction. Download the app using the QR code you see at the bottom of the screen or head to sportsinteraction.com/SDPN to get started. 19 and older, please play responsibly. Welcome, Leafs fans, to Game Over Toronto. My name's Harnish, and I'm joined by my co-host, Fouad, as the Leafs took on sworn enemies, Montreal Canadiens. Fouad, tell me why you're doing the Jets. The Jets.
Because Jet Alexander, we have a goaltending controversy. Find out at 10. I have got a song, I'm leaving on a jet plane. And I don't know if I'll be back again. The E-Bug showed up with a minute left in the game. Should have been like about half the game earlier.
Exactly. He should have came in that second period. We'll talk about Sammy going down, but yeah, he should have been there way earlier. Great though to see him out there. First of all, I loved seeing a young guy. He's a 23-year-old, a UFT goalie. Seeing him just step on the ice, even if it was just for that minute and like 10 seconds, I think it was like 70 seconds. Whatever, man. That made his night. You know he loved every moment out there. And even seeing Czar talking to him on the bench and everything. Fantastic. Great for him.
Ryan O'Reilly. I hope they give him like I'm sure you're gonna see the social media posts, but I'm sure they're gonna give him like when he walks in the locker room, they're probably gonna give him that like water bottle shower, even though like he didn't really do anything. But you know, I think that would be a cool thing to do. But yeah, like U of T, it's so like, have there any been actual substantial NHL players that have come out of youth sports? Because I don't know. I was actually having this conversation with somebody. I was like, I mean, it seems the only two paths is Europe, or the only three paths. It's usually the European League, NCAA, or junior. I've never seen someone come straight from like youth sports and actually have a career. If somebody knows that, let me know in the chat, because I'm interested. I'm interested to see if that's the case. But
yeah, well, they'll let us know in the chats. One person in the chat, Mikey Lab, he said, what happened to Wall? So Wall was actually reassigned to the Marlies, and the reason for that is the Leafs are hoping to get Matthew Knies into the lineup as soon as possible. They're playing a quick update on that. They're in the third period, and Minnesota's up one against Quinnipiac. I hope I'm saying that right. Yeah, but they're up one. They're up 2-1 against them. Quick update. It's the championship game. Tune in and watch that after the show if you want to take a look at that as well. We have two guys up there. But yeah, let's talk about the game. The Leafs won against the Habs 7-1 in absolute humiliating fashion. It was fantastic. This game had it all. We had Marner beating his season high point total. He had I think it was a 98 or 99 after that. Did he get another point?
I think he got 99, but did they give him the assist on that 6-1 Matthews goal where he genuinely passed in the puck? He genuinely had the assist, but because it deflected off the Montreal player there and went right back to Matthews' stick, and he impressively somehow dragged that back in like one fell swoop into the back of the net. I don't think there's anybody else on earth who could do that.
Crazy. But we'll talk more about him as well. And then we also had William Nylander getting a goal, Matthews getting another goal. Fantastic. But the big story of tonight is Samsonov, in my opinion. Samsonov, in that second period, my heart fell in my chest. I mean, he tried to make a stretch-in save, or he tried to make a stretch-in, I guess, like, to try to cover up his post. And when he extends, he's instantly wincing. He's wincing, his hands drop on the ice, and my heart dropped. You cannot make a run in the playoffs without Sammy. You need him there.
Yeah. I mean, that's the kind of goalie injury that, like, makes you really afraid, because you know, sometimes, you know, in the case of a Matt Murray, I mean, obviously his injury is serious if it's like it seems like it's like a concussion or something adjacent to that. But because that's a freak injury, it's like, okay, you know, that's something that can happen anytime. But when a goalie goes down and comes up favoring their groin, that's like terrifying, because their whole job is their groin. It's like their groin, their knees, and their hips.
And especially saw him tweak it in that Bruins game as well. That's when he was out long term, right? So it's an area of concern.
It's big area of concern. Like, and I honestly, like, I don't want to talk about a negative or lead with a negative in this game because it was a 7-1 garden variety ass whooping. But Sheldon Keefe, I think they should have went to Jet Alexander like a period at that point. I think they should have went with Jet Alexander. They were up 4-1. First of all, that was not a game. That was a practice at the Ford Performance Center down the street from where I am right now. But at that point, like, even if, God forbid, Montreal were to come back and win, it doesn't really matter because, like, whatever, right? Like, there's locked in to home ice pretty much. I mean, Tampa Bay just lost 7-4, and we're pretty much locked into home ice. So putting Jet Alexander in there, obviously not ideal. You don't want to have a guy like, you know, as cool as the story it is, you don't want to have a guy that just came from, like, taking classes in life science at UFC in your net. Like, it's not an ideal situation, but man, unless Samsonov just said, like, I farted and that's why I winced or something, then if it wasn't like, if he said I have no pain, it's not anything, no problem to it. Like, if he played with pain, I'm pretty upset with Sheldon Keefe at that point.
Yeah, I think
protect that man at all costs. It's 1 week. 1 week from now, he's gonna be in net, like, at home against Tampa Bay. Like, that is very concerning. So.
I think he was fine. Like, you saw him after there was a couple plays later, and then he had a talk with the Leafs athletic trainer, and they had a chat. He looked all right. They gave him the thumbs up, and Sammy went straight back in. To his credit, he made a couple great saves in that same period.
He looked good.
The remainder of that period, fantastic. Made a couple athletic saves. He didn't look like he was wincing from any of it. Didn't look like it was affecting him at all. But to your point, and I agreed with you exactly. I tweeted about this. I don't care. Players, any type of athlete, what's the one thing that they will play through because they're competitive and they're athletes at heart, right? They're gonna go through and they're gonna want to finish off the game, right? They're too strong for their own body in some senses, right?
It's like, especially hockey players, like, unless they're so injured that they cannot even put weight on their leg, they're gonna play. I mean, obviously in the playoffs, we've heard of, like, Patrice Bergeron played with an actual hole in his lung, which is, he shouldn't have done that. I mean, we shouldn't even celebrate that because that's just freaking dangerous. But to that point, they are too tough for their own good.
Exactly.
And I'm sure Samsonov is no different. Do I have any doubt that he's going to play in the first round series? No, I don't think. I'm pretty sure he probably just had a cramp, maybe. That's my hope. And that they're like, is this a cramp? Like, I'm hoping they wouldn't be so irresponsible as to play him injured on a meaningless game versus a tanking Montreal team. I'm hoping so.
Exactly.
You hope so, right? Like, this is the faith we have in Sheldon Keefe, right?
Yeah, and you hit the nail right there. I think at this point, the remainder of the games in the season, take them off. We'll talk a little bit more about resting players in just a bit, but yeah, I think he should have been pulled right then and there, especially that third period. He got a guy, Jet Alexander. It's let him have his moment. Let him shine. I know he got 70 seconds at the end. Great, but he should have had that entire period. Who cares? It's a nothing game. If the Habs came back and absolutely just demolished us, I don't care. Have your laugh. We'll let Mark and Andrew giggle at us a little bit here and there, poke some fun. But who's gonna be in the playoffs talking afterwards, right?
Hey, listen. Andrew, if you're watching this back, Harnish said that, not me. I didn't say anything wrong.
Take it to the bank, baby.
The Habs are great. We love the Habs too. We love both teams as equally. Jaden actually pointed this out. I didn't notice this. Eric Gustafsson with 3 points. How about that?
He was sneaky tonight.
I mean, I'm pretty sure like everybody had 3 points. If you didn't have 3 points, you're back skated tomorrow. If you didn't have 3 points, honestly.
Yeah, but he was a little sneaky. I mean the first goal, that Marner goal, that was a little bit weird. Where I think that was it seemed like it was some kind of miscommunication. I don't think they drew up the play correctly, and Gustafsson kind of messed up a little bit there. Still fantastic. Became a goal, but that JT goal, that was spearheaded off of Gustafsson playing the net really hard and getting the pass up, and that goal was going to get called back. The Habs tried to review it. O'Reilly was shoved in the back by Matheson to his own goaltender, and luckily it was the goal stood. It should have been a goal. Matheson pushing O'Reilly into their own goaltender. Like, come on, what are you gonna do in that situation? But yeah, to your point, Gustafsson, he played really well there, and
Yeah.
that's another guy who hasn't been having a lot of minutes. The reason why he was even in the game tonight was because we were resting Morgan Riley and TJ Brody, right? So Liljegren and Gustafsson got the call up, and they played great. I mean, in a game when you win 7-1, everyone's going to be playing great, right?
Yeah.
But still nice to
You'd
see.
hope so.
Yeah, it's still nice to see at least that if you do call them up here and there, in their specific niche roles, they'll excel. They'll do great, right?
And the first, I think for the first period, and then the first period, because it was so eventful, almost forgot about this. David Camp almost pulled off an actual Michigan.
Yeah.
It was closer than it looked because he had it. He didn't get it all the way up above the bar, but he was like mid-bar there. I don't know.
It was a good effort. Good effort.
I don't know what possessed his soul. The man who has like what 12 career NHL goals, like something like that. Like that's not his role. And this guy's like, no, this is how little I care about playing the Habs on April 8th, 2023. I'm gonna try a Michigan. Like, would that not be the greatest Leafs goal of all time? Like, take it to the bank. That would have been the best Leafs goal I've seen ever. Just because of the ridiculousness of it.
That's a lot, but
the ridiculousness
game,
of it.
I can agree with this game in particular. Best Leafs goal of all time. We'll see. But still, just seeing him,
goal of all time.
Seeing him even like try to attempt it. Oh my god, it was so cool. I love it. It's one of those things where I wish I could even attempt that. I don't have the hand-eye coordination to even try to do that.
How is it physically possible to do that?
Magic.
I always wondered
just
how
throw a
they
little
do
sauce
it.
on there.
Because it defies the laws of gravity. I've never played hockey, so like it defies the laws of gravity to me to think that you can just put the puck on there and it just stays there.
Yeah.
More Michigans, please.
A couple of guys who had some good goals tonight, though. Like we mentioned, William Nylander got 1. Marnie got 2. Matthews, Bunce got in there. JT, a lot of guys got involved in there. I want to put some notice on Marner and Nylander. Even though Nylander only had 1 goal today, he was flying out there.
Yeah,
he had a couple great chances. And even that top line of Bunting, Matthews, and Marner, man, these guys were insane. They really, really looked like they were trying to convince Keefe that we need to be together starting the playoffs. Like they were on something tonight.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they're clicking at the right time together. I mean, when has Marner not clicked this season? I mean, he's been the most consistent performer on the team. He's got 99 points. And yeah, having them together, like sometimes I waver back and forth on having them together because Marner is I think the thing is we know about Marner now. He's the straw that stirs the drink on both lines. So when you have him with Tavares, him and Tavares make beautiful music together. And then, Matthews can still dominate by himself. So sometimes I do still like them separated because you still have those 2 all-world talents on 2 separate lines. So you functionally have 40 minutes of them in the playoffs, just one after the other, right? So I usually like the stagger approach, especially like going to the playoffs. But man, if they're clicking on all cylinders, I mean, who am I to say to take them apart, right? I mean, they are kind of like they are a inseparable duo.
Yeah, exactly. And another thing to note, you talked about loading up the lines. Ryan O'Reilly, he actually returned on that second line with JT on the side, right? Calle Yarncroc, he's day-to-day. He picked up an injury and he was off for the day. But yeah, talk about loading it up. Like Keefe mentioned before the game that he wanted to get some more minutes with O'Reilly, sorry.
O'Reilly, yeah.
Man in that second line, just because in the playoffs, if there's a situation where you really need to load up on those 2 lines, it gives them some flexibility. And boy, did it work, right? They had some success earlier on when they were playing together, and tonight again, they had a lot of success. They were playing really hard, and it was nice to see them connecting again, right?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I'm just so curious to what the plan's going to be. Like, I'm really curious to see what lines are going to happen for the playoffs. Like that is like it's almost like it's like tune in next week to find out the lines. Because like Sheldon Keefe, it seems to be playing it close to the chest. I'm so curious to see. Like, do you think he's going to end up on that top in that top six, or is it going to be the three-headed monster? Because I don't know.
I
Jellicoe
think
is a hard guy to read.
I think it's I think having that flexibility is fantastic. You're not gonna have a wrong answer with this, but I think having Ryan O'Reilly, man, that's that third line, um is the way that he should be going with,
I think so.
because like it just worked so freaking well, right? We saw the last couple of games he was paired up alongside who was it Laugh and Sar? No, I can't remember. But he was paired up, and he looked like he was playing really really well on that third line. Sorry, I'm thinking about it. Who was it? Was it Kerf and Achari, I think. Yeah, Kerf and
Yeah.
Achari. Kerf and Achari. That's where he paired up with them, and they looked great together, right? So I think having the three-headed monster of Matthews up top, John Tavares on that second line, third line with Ryan O'Reilly, that's gonna be great. We talked about Matthew Knies, right? Obviously, I don't think that he's gonna get the call up, but that's another player that in the future, if they do decide to keep O'Reilly, I think he pairs up really well with him. I think he would match up, and that would be an insane three lines.
Is that like not going to happen for the playoffs? I keep seeing conflicting reports. Like, is there no chance that they just slot him in game one of the playoffs? I mean,
I
it
don't
seems
think so.
kind of crazy that they would, considering
Yeah.
it's just like welcome to the show in the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree. Like
It'd be great if he just came in and scored 5 goals in the first round series. I mean, that would
yeah,
blow my mind. But
exactly. I agree. Like it's
you
wishful
go either
thinking.
way.
I think it's like everyone's just over the moon. They're just excited to have Matthew Knies in the lineup or try to see him, and that's great. But I think you got to stick with the guys who have kind of proved it a little bit more this year. I mean, Matthew Knies, he's still a young guy, man. He's like what 20 years old.
Yeah.
Give him some time to develop. I think this year, I think next year to start off, maybe you can see how he works, but I don't think you shake up the lineups and you shake up the chemistry this late on.
Yeah.
If there are some injuries though, like who knows? You could call him up, right?
Yeah, find out what you have, right? I mean, hey,
Exactly.
sometimes these young guys, you throw them in there, like let's just say, I mean, he's in a championship round right now.
Yeah.
You just poured him to the NHL. He might be so on a high from winning or being so close to the NCAA championship that like he might just still be in a winning mode. He just might just be like, hey, yeah, I'm ready. I'm confident. I mean, some of these young guys, like there's a theory that I've heard this a lot in sports where it's like they're so young that they don't know any better. So it's
Yeah.
like they don't know the stakes. They don't know the weight of all the losing. So he might just come in hair free and just ready to roll. Maybe if they're having trouble in the playoffs, they're down 2-1, and Matthews and Marner and Tavares, they're hanging their heads, and Matthew Knies like, let's go, boys. I don't know. I'm just trying to write a sports movie for the Leafs, like an Air Bud 2, Air Bud 5. I don't know how many Air Buds they made, but that would be the case.
Hey,
Like,
I mean,
but
they are
he
still
could-
up 2-1, right, against
Yeah.
in that NCAA finals, right? So maybe he comes off a win, maybe he has some fun and he keeps that going, right? I know Dubas, he was super interested. I think he was there for that semifinals a couple days ago against Boston University, I believe. He was there scouting that game. So yeah, like he's clearly a piece that we are going to be playing with very very soon, right?
I mean,
Now-
you're gonna have 2 wingers coming back, like because if you think about it, they're gonna have 2 new wingers next season. Like we almost always forget because it's so early in the season, but you still have Nick Robertson in the system. I know he's
Exactly,
you know,
and Pontus Holmberg
playing-
too. Pontus is playing
Yeah,
very well
he's-
too.
they like the Leafs have a decent future. I mean, you just like all we care about right now is what's going to happen in the next 3 to 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to even think about the future of the team because it's like very murky if it doesn't go the way we want it to go. But if you look objectively, you do have 3 good young players you can throw in there and some others coming in through the Marley. So it's decent. Like I don't think they're going to lose a lot as far as cap crunch. I think they're going to be able to survive their cap crunch, knowing how flexible and how creative they are with with the balance sheet.
Uh-huh.
But it's so interesting too about I want to go back to Matthews because I didn't realize something until I saw it on the broadcast that he has more assists than he has goals. I think it's 39 goals and 42 assists, which I was kind of weird. It was kind of unthinkable. I remember I don't know what season it would have been, maybe the 2019 season, 2019-2020 season. And like going into that year, he's like, I want to have more assists than goals. And a lot of Leaf fans are like, okay, well, we appreciate the sentiment, but that's probably not going to happen. And lo and behold, he's going to do it, unless he has like a four goals in the next 2 games, which entirely possible because he is on another level right now. But I don't know. I think it's a maturation in his game. I think he's becoming, like, as he grows into being 25, he's becoming a man now, and he's starting to really round out his game and become an all-around player. Like, I want to compare it to Steve Yzerman. Like, obviously Steve Yzerman, most of his time, I wasn't watching because I was a toddler. But when Steve Yzerman first came in the league, I'm looking at his hockey DB. He had like 60 goals, 50 goals, 55 goals, like a lot of like just eye-popping numbers. And then the years that they win the cups in the mid 90s, he has like 25, 30 goals. So he completely kind of changed his game in order to be a winning player. So I'm really hoping that Nate might be a good omen. What do you think?
Yeah, well, I think the big thing with Matthews this season specifically was that injury, right? He's been nursing
Yeah.
that injury for the majority of the season. And he was even off like just recently with that wrist injury, right? So
Yeah.
I think a big portion of that, because you see the way that he shoots, he's a wrist shot. That's his bread and honey, right? That's where he gets his goals. And not
Did you say bread and
having
honey? You
what
say
is it?
bread and honey?
What is it? Bread and
Bread and butter.
Bread and butter, sorry.
Yeah,
I'm very bad at
just
this.
you just change up all of the cliches. I love it.
My bad.
You're amazing. No, I love it. It's creative.
Let me.
Art's just changing the game with cliches.
Oopsie.
You
But
go.
no,
I'm sorry. Go on.
it's okay. It's okay. Yeah. So I think like him having that wrist injury that forced him, or that restricted his ability to score goals, right? You saw
Yeah.
he was just a little slow. He seemed like he was favoring the other side, and he just like wasn't playing as Austin Matthews, right? So I think that forced him to pick up other areas of his game, like we talked about significantly throughout this whole season, his ability to play well defensively too, right? And that's because with his injury and his, I guess, like his restriction on how well he can score goals in the situations,
It's a pain.
he's gonna have to,
if his wrist is
exactly,
just sore,
he's gonna
he's not
have
gonna
to
be his
pick up
best.
other
Yeah.
areas, and that other areas, like you mentioned, is being able to drive plays, create opportunities for his teammates, and also be fantastic defensively, which are all key
Big.
areas that are going to be important come the playoffs and for the rest of his career, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. You need all those things in the playoffs. Like the goals, it's kind of what we saw last season. Like he didn't score at a 60-goal pace in the first round last season. You know, he had a few goals. He had a good series, but like you just a lot of times you're not going to just go in from the regular season tearing it up and like having a 60-goal season. I mean, McDavid honestly might, because he's different, but from almost every other player, the game kind of slows down, becomes a little bit harder to create that space. So
Yeah.
if he can do all those other things, like he's going to be able to create a lot more opportunities for himself and everyone else. Like it's hard to, like, the big four right now, I think, are playing the best going into the playoffs collectively that they've had in this whole era. What do you think?
I completely agree. This is the first time, well, fingers crossed, it seems like we're heading in with almost a fully healthy team, and we're gonna bring that up a little bit more later on too. But yeah, seeing them all contribute and just getting going and whatnot is fantastic to see. But I don't want to see an injury, right? We talked about Sammy
Well, of
getting
course.
like seeing like looking like he tweaked something. Tampa is banged up. The Bruins are banged up. The Leafs at this point, they are pretty lucky. Our guys are
Yeah.
pretty healthy as of right now. The only guy that's out, we mentioned it, Calle Yarncroc. He's day to day right now, and obviously with Matt Murray, he's looking like he might be ramping up to come back. There's a reason why they decided to put Wall back to the Marlies and favor bringing back Matthew Knies instead. But yeah, like this game, in my mind, I was looking at this game and I was like, hey, the Leafs have nothing to play for. The Habs, they really got nothing to play for. At this point, I think that it's going to be an easygoing game and relatively easygoing as far as Leafs versus Habs games tend to go.
Yeah.
That's for sure. But I thought they would take it. I thought they would take the brakes off a little bit, right? Or put the brakes on, right?
Yeah.
But no, like it was a tough fought game, and you saw a couple fights break out. I mean, that Simmer on I can't remember the exact player that he fought.
Oh,
Pizzetta, yeah, exactly. That happened. I mean,
he TKO'd him, right? Like I was.
Oh yeah, dude.
Why would you ever fight Wayne Simmons? That's all he can do right now is fight. That's all he
you know what it was?
to do.
You know what I think it was? The Habs, they were down 2-0 at this point in the first period. It was pretty early on. And you know what they said? They said, "Screw it. We're losing this hockey game. The UFC fight is on tonight. Fuck it. Let's have Pizzetta throw it down and maybe we can win a fight." But too bad, Pizzetta chose the wrong man. He chose the boogeyman Simmer, and just like Pereira knocked out Izzy, Simmer knocked out Pizzetta.
So apparently, Simmer. That's gonna like. It seems like this is. It looks like the way they're talking, this might be his last game. I don't think, nor do I think they should play Wayne Simmons in the playoffs. Unless
you never know, because like think about it, he's a big body guy, and he has a very niche role where, let's say if the games start going out of hand, like this game was, you need a big guy there. Like he picked up the gloves and threw down Pizzetta, and then when Bunce got cross-checked, we'll talk about that specific situation because it fucking tilted me, but I am very heated with the refs on that.
We gotta get you heated now.
I'm gonna go off on that.
Waste the heated. I want to see you go. I want to see.
You want me to talk about that right now? God. Okay.
Tell us what grinds your gears. Harnish.
That whole situation, for those of you that need a recap on that, the Leafs are up 5-1 at this point, right? It's in the third. There's half the period left, and Edmondson decides, yeah, this game's over. Let me go cross-check Bunce on the numbers from behind, where Bunce isn't even looking at him. Cross-checks him. First off, Edmondson, go fuck yourself, okay? You slimy prick. Second of all, the refs, fuck yourself too, okay? The refs looked at that play, and what they decided was that it was Bunce's fault. The Leafs went on. The Leafs got the penalty called on them for that. Are you kidding me? How does that even happen?
I know. I've heard people saying that Bunting was diving, but how do you dive and cross check to the back?
It doesn't matter. The moment that there's some kind of contact being made from the back, are you kidding me? Who cares? You can't be doing that type of shit. And the fact that the Leafs went down for that and they called unsportsmanlike behavior from Bunce, like, come on, dude, give me a
2 minutes.
Break.
That was a penalty. 2 minutes. Michael Bunting for existing. That was what they gave it to him, for existing.
Yeah, they're like, oh yeah, Bunce, you got hit in the back. Yeah, that's your fault, buddy. Yeah.
Well, like diving, I understand. If somebody dives, you gotta give them the penalty,
dude.
But how do you dive when you're hit from behind? Because
exactly.
If Michael Bunting is actually like Neo from the Matrix and has like senses from behind him, he's wasting his talents in the NHL. Like he should be doing something else. He should be an astronaut or something. Because like being a mere NHL player for somebody with such spatial awareness, like he could be doing so much better for the world. But no, I mean.
And what did I want to say?
Something with Bunting, like there's something there.
Yeah.
The refs, I think that like, I know everyone loves. It's a hot topic all the time, but you can't deny that the guy has a reputation and a bad one. I think he's got to like, I don't know, like it's Easter Day. He's got to bake some cookies, like send an edible arrangement to the referees. I don't know, something.
Listen,
sign a stick. I don't know, man.
I'm sorry, like my apologies for the swearing. I am very heated about that. But come on, man. It's ridiculous. Bunce really just can't get anything going for him. This really seems like Kadri, except at least Kadri retaliated when he was called for a penalty in the playoffs and when he was thrown out of the game and whatnot. Bunce is not reacting. He's getting abused out there and he's still getting the penalty against him as well.
You can tell he's become Zen Bunting. Like he's trying.
Yeah.
Like the last game, I was saying to Lord, like they were like rustling him up in the corner, and he's just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm happy he didn't react.
Breathe in,
but
breathe out,
dude. But that goes to a larger point here, right?
It's gonna be something in the playoffs.
Yeah, well, yeah, definitely. But
it's gonna be something.
Even before the playoffs, right? we still have a couple games left in the season. I believe we have 3 more games left. We have
Yep.
the Panthers, we have the Lightning, and then the Rangers, right?
Mhm.
3 more games. We saw today a game against the Habs. Yes, it's a big rivalry. Yes, they're gonna be they're gonna be heated, especially when they're down 7-1. But let's say in that play, Bunce gets hurt when he gets cross-checked. Let's say that Samsonov gets injured or injures himself when he goes to make that or
Let's
try to cover
not.
up the
Let's
the
not
block.
say that.
No, but that
I know.
to that point, like, why are we playing these guys? We're resting Riley, we're resting TJ Brody. I think we really, really need to be resting more players. Like Samsonov, I don't want to see him play another game again. Not for this regular season. Throw him in the playoffs, but I don't want to see him start in another game. You cannot risk it. He is the only. I do not trust Matt Murray in net at all. I just want to be abundantly clear with that. I do not trust Matt Murray in the net. Samsonov is our only freaking chance. You cannot let him go down. Ice the man. Do you agree with that?
To a point. Like, there's the argument, and it's a tough argument always, rest versus rust. Like, especially a goaltender, it's about rhythm, right? So if he were to go on ice for 2 weeks, or like I think the playoffs are what, the 17th? So you're talking about 9 days. So 9 to 10 days.
So the last game is on
That's
the 13th.
Yes, that's a long layoff for one goalie, to where it may affect him negatively going into the playoffs. So I would say at least like one of the games, you have him out. Like, you go with Wall, you do some cap shenanigans, you bring Shelgren in, whatever you have to do. Matt Murray gets in, but I don't think you can outright rest him fully. And the same goes for everybody else. Like, I understand maybe like one game here and there.
Yeah.
But there's a reason why they don't wholesale like load manage everyone at the same time. I don't think they want to ruin the good things that Matthews, Tavares, Marner, and Nylander are doing right now, because they are absolutely clicking. So I don't know. I think it's okay to have them in, obviously manage their minutes, but I don't think wholesale resting them. No. I mean, you can't always think, what if an injury happens? Because you could think that at any time in the season, right? So
I agree, but I think with Samsonov, like, I understand resting the other guys, the other forwards, maybe one game here and there, just like we're doing with Riley and Brody, right? But for Samsonov, he's so integral to our success. Maybe like if you really want him back and just to make sure the rust doesn't hit him, like, just rest him for the next 2 games against the Panthers and the Lightning, especially the Lightning. Please let him not get injured against the Lightning game, and just bring him back for the Rangers game then, and have that be his shake off the rust
practice.
game.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, Matthew was saying, Wall is young and hungry. Let him start rest of the games. Yeah. I mean,
Well, the problem is we can't bring up Wall anymore, right? With Matthew Knies, when we take Matthew Knies on Sunday, and we're probably going to call him up as soon as possible, we don't have any contract positions. That's the whole reason why we had to reassign Wall back into the Marlies.
Weird. So like, they actually can't bring him in unless like Matt Murray, for example, is not ready to go as the LTIR, right?
So that's why I think there's more to this, right? We've been hearing about Matt Murray potentially being ready to go soon, right? Sooner rather than later. I think the reason why they decided to put Wall down and bring up Matthew Knies is because they're assuming that Matt Murray is going to be healthy sooner rather than later, especially considering the fact that we have a back-to-back, right? So the Panthers and the Lightning's game, that's a back-to-back, right? We played the Panthers on Monday, we played the Lightning on Tuesday, right? You're going to need 2 goaltenders for that. You can't just rely on Samsonov to play both the games for that situation, right? So I think that I think Matt Murray is expected to return sometime soon. Hopefully, fingers crossed. And so maybe you put him in and have him not only ramp up, but also take some of the minutes off of Samsonov, right?
Totally. Yeah. I mean,
that's the only logical conclusion I can think of.
Yeah. I mean, let's just hope there's no updates about his groin injury. Let's just assume that everything is okay for this very moment. Before we go, like, I do want to acknowledge something that like the Leafs obviously have beat up on the Habs. The Habs are down bad this season, but like, when I look at their roster, like, they're cap friendly and what they got going on, I don't think they're going to be down bad very long. Am I wrong to say this? Like, there's some scary potential there. especially, I mean, they have the 6th highest lottery odds. I mean, the Fab Five of tanking are like untouchable. You have the California, you know, you have Anaheim, you have San Jose, you have Columbus, Chicago, and I'm missing somebody else.
Let me look. Columbus, Chicago, Anaheim, San Jose, and Montreal. Yeah.
Yeah, so they're good. I mean, God forbid they get the top pick, because that would mean they would have a core of Bedard, Suzuki, Doc, Caulfield,
Yeah.
Slavkovsky. Like, that's a top 6. Like, that's goals galore, especially if Connor Bedard is as good as advertised. So let's pray that they don't get it. You know what I'm going to do? I'm literally going to sim the lottery right now. I'm on tankathon.com. I'm going to sim the lottery.
You're really calling Matt.
Thank God.
Andrew and Mark are coming for your head after this, eh?
Yeah, Philadelphia got it. So Philadelphia, number 1 pick. I think Philadelphia would deserve the number 1 pick. I'd be okay with that. You know, turn that team around. You know, let Montreal keep the 6th pick. You know, keep the Florida pick. But no, honestly, if they hit on those picks, even if they don't move up and they use their cap space right, yeah, look out. They're going to be the next team up behind the Leafs. I think adds Boston and Tampa if they ever age out, which I don't think they ever will. I think they're bionic and forever.
Yeah, no, that's very true. Montreal fans, you guys have a lot going for you. You got a young team, and hopefully they turn it around sooner rather than later, because honestly, having a fun Habs team that we can play off against and have a good series against, that's always fun. Like, let's be honest. Habs, Bruins, those are fun games. We have a lot of fun.
Any of the Canadian teams, and I'm biased because we all have the we're all co-workers with the rest of the Canadian markets, right? We want everybody to do well. Like, if it were up to me, all 7 teams are in the playoffs, and they're the top 7 teams in the league. Okay.
Oh, forget about that. If it was up to me, bring back the Quebec Nordiques. Let's go.
Yeah. So we'll have game over.
Get more
Quebec.
Canadian teams.
Game over Quebec. Game over Halifax. Game over Sault Ste. Marie. We'll love that. But at least
jeez, yeah.
Buy that team.
That's
right?
Dubas is ready to jump ship at that point.
Maybe on SDPN. Next thing you know, Dubas is SDPN. You know, he's gonna move to the media side.
Yeah, well, ifs and buts. But yeah, one quick update I wanted to say about the NCAA finals. So the game is now tied. It's tied. Minnesota in Quinnipiac. I hope I'm saying that right.
Is this like the finals?
This is the finals. This is a championship game.
This is the last game. Oh,
this is the championship game.
I have not been following.
Yeah, no. This is a championship game. There's a minute left in that third period. So guys, tune into that to see if our boy Matthew Knies can win it there. We have another guy in there as well. What's his name? Mikey Koster. Boy? That's what it is. Mikey Koster. He's another one of our guys. He's a left D man, and he's also playing on that team. So fingers crossed. Let's hope and pray that Minnesota wins, because I really want to see a championship for Matthew Knies and then bring back that energy straight to Toronto. But
straight here. That's
gonna do it here from us. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you guys for tuning in. And we had a lot of comments, a lot of people here excited about this Leafs game. The Leafs won 7-1 against the Canadiens. And on Monday, they're going to be playing off against the Panthers, hopefully, with Matthew Knies in a not only a Toronto contract, but also an NCAA win. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Just be like, I have more rings than you. Shut up, I'm on the first line now.
Yeah.
That would just be he just comes in, Sheldon Keefe is like, listen,
take out Bunting.
He's a champion and you're not. So whatever he says goes. He's like going to be carrying his bags, like the opposite of rookie treatment.
Yeah, of course. That's exactly what's going to happen.
Thanks everybody for tuning in. We love you. Please like and subscribe. Tell all your friends. Share the show. And let them know the playoffs are coming. And like, we're bringing the heat. You know, I'm looking, I'm making some calls and, you know, sending some emails, you know, hoping there's going to be some fun things to show you guys. But yeah, we're bringing the absolute heat for the playoffs. So don't miss it. Again, from SDPN, my name is Fouad Suleiman. We'll catch you later.
And my name's Harnish Patel. You can follow me at Harnish_Patel98 on Twitter. Have a great night, everyone. Good night.
Powered by Sports Interaction, Canada Sportsbook.